Okay guys, NBA Jam 4 Arcade 1-Up is now released. And when I first saw the price of this, I said, no way am I paying that much for an Arcade 1-Up. No way, no how, not gonna do it. Well, here it is, sitting in my house. I know. Now technically I paid $0 for this. I just happened to have stuff sitting around that I either wasn't using or was just collecting dust. So I decided to sell it. Luckily I had just enough to pay for this NBA Jam cabinet. So really it was more of a trade to get this than buying it, which is much better in my opinion. Now there is a cheaper version from Walmart where you can save 100 bucks. I believe it's coming out next month, but it doesn't include the stool or extra lighting on the control deck, so you may want to consider that one if you want to save some more money. Now this is my second 3/4 size Arcade 1-Up, so I figured it wouldn't take as long to put together, but then I remembered how long it took to take all the pieces out, unpackage all the boxes and plastic that everything was in before I could even start putting it together. So the good thing is, if you're concerned about this getting damaged in shipping, don't be. They package these things really good. The bad thing is you have to unpack all of their really good packaging. Not that this is hard, just time consuming, but anyone who says they can install one of these within 40 minutes, yeah, they're lying. Well, or they're just not including the unpacking time. There were a couple small imperfections on the graphics on one of the pieces, but nothing that would make me mess with contacting their customer service. I guess you could say I'm not that picky when it comes to that sort of stuff. As long as it's a small imperfection and everything else is really good and everything works just fine, yeah, I'm not gonna mess with customer service if I don't have to. All the instructions are really simple. There's separate instructions for the riser and stool, and both of those were pretty easy to put together as well. I still can't figure out why the two front screws on the control deck, or where all the sticks and buttons are, don't tighten up. It's almost like the screws aren't long enough. So if someone knows why that is, please let me know in the comments below, because I have the same issue on my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One thing that is a little bit different on this one versus my Ninja Turtles cabinet is you do have two lights, one for the marquee and one for the control deck, but it's just a matter of plugging those into the back of the display, which only takes seconds. So I would say total time to put everything together, including unpacking everything, is around 2 hours. And once everything is together, man, this thing looks really good. So this arcade comes with 3 different games, or versions, of NBA Jam. The original NBA Jam, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and NBA Hang Time. The nice thing is they give you a few adjustments in the menu settings for each game, such as scan lines, head size, and game timer speed. Now when the game starts up, it looks really good, and for how old of a game this is, it surprisingly still holds up pretty good in my opinion. You'll notice how the rosters sometimes show the same player more than once, and I know they weren't able to get licensing for all players on here, so I may have to dig deeper into the rosters on a separate video. But from what I can see, they've got most of the big names that I would want, so I'm definitely happy with that. Now, I'm a little rusty at this game. I probably haven't played it in a few years. I think I did okay with the Orlando Magic, except I picked Shaquille O'Neal and kept shooting 3-pointers with him for some reason. Weird thing is, he actually made a couple, so you know that's not realistic. But at least I won the game by 1 point, mainly because they couldn't score at the end, but still, hey, a win's a win. Obviously, this isn't going to compete against the newer versions of NBA Jam, but I gotta say it looks really good and it definitely brings back memories of when I used to play this as a kid. Now speaker volume on this is really good, very comparable to my Ninja Turtles arcade 1-up. Now at full volume, I don't know if it sounds that great, but I probably would only use it at about halfway anyways. But as far as screen brightness and viewing angles, I really have no complaints with this. And if you're wondering size-wise, this is pretty much the same size as a Ninja Turtles arcade 1-up. My first impressions on everything so far is really positive. Now here's some more game footage just so you can get an idea of what to expect. And then I'm gonna cover a few more items and let you know what glitches or issues that I've found so far.
Bad decision. Turn it up by 2. Rejected. Just reject the shot. Kyle. And it's good. Magic win the game.
So the big thing I was wondering about is how the Wi-Fi setting worked and how stable the connection is. The good thing is setup is pretty easy, pretty similar to most other Wi-Fi devices where you just put in your password to connect. But from what I can tell, it does not support 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which is sort of mind-boggling to me. My 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection is much slower than my 5 gigahertz. And I would assume it's going to be like that for most people. But it did seem to connect just fine, and right away there was an update, so I went ahead and installed that. It didn't tell me what the update was, but everything still seemed to work okay, so that's a good sign. Once connected, it'll show experienced players and available games that you can join. Joining someone else's game is typically pretty quick, although they can't deny you joining if they set it up that way on their end. Same thing with your games. You can adjust in the settings whether someone can join your game automatically or if they need permission first. Overall, online play is acceptable, but I can see some issues already. One thing I noticed is sometimes games seem to freeze, and I'm not sure if it's my connection or the other person's. You'll hear it in the sound when the sound freezes with the screen. It would be nice to have something on there that shows your ping or just some way of telling whether your connection is bad or if it's someone else's. Overall though, I think online play is acceptable, but I can see some issues already. When someone leaves a game, the guy with the ball will just stand there, and sometimes he'll stand out of bounds, where you can't even get to him or steal the ball from him, which is sort of annoying. Not sure if this is something that can be fixed or not. I would think once a player leaves the game, then that player turns into a computer player, or maybe just have the game end. I'm sure there's probably better ways to do it, but that's just off the top of my head. I think what most people will enjoy about being connected online is the rankings that show best player, best record, and so on. That will keep people trying to get their name to the top of those rankings in each game mode, almost as if you were at a real arcade place and are trying to beat other people's high scores. I wish that was something all arcade 1-ups had. So is the new NBA Jam arcade 1-up worth it for the price they're asking? Well, for someone who's cheap like me, probably not. But since I had some stuff to sell, and it felt more like a trade than using my own money to buy it, then yeah, this thing is pretty sweet. I'm definitely no expert at arcade games, but it feels just as good as my Ninja Turtles arcade 1-up. Sticks are nice and clicky, and buttons seem really responsive. It seemed like there was a little lag here and there when playing online matches, but I think that could either be my connection or the other person's. Sure, there are a few glitches, or that could be improved, but the fact that it's Wi-Fi definitely gives me hope that it can be fixed with future updates. But after playing this, for me, I think they should at least put Wi-Fi on all arcade 1-ups. Even if it's just for the high scores, I think that's what most people are going to want. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.